How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. The 2021 NBA All-Star break is here. We made it through the halfway of the season. Mike Conley finally became a first-time All-Star. Many thought he would never make the All-Star team. The Utah Jazz, the best record in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets are heating up. Disappointing teams includes the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics. In my previous video, I talked about how often an NBA MVP winner finishes as a top 2 seed. If you haven't watched it yet, just click on the link above or down in the description below. With that said, here are my top 8 MVP candidates of 2021 so far.
Number 8, Kawhi Leonard. I rank him just a tiny bit ahead of Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell. Those guys would be on my 9th and 10th list. Leonard already missed 8 games. That's why he's not higher than any of the guys I rank above him. Very similar numbers to last season. At least he's played in a few back-to-backs now. 26.5 points, over 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 51% shooting. Defense has been terrific. His team 4-4 without him thus far, including a 51-point blowout loss to Dallas, the 3rd game of the season. His team ended the first half on a disappointing note, a 3-game losing streak. Leonard played in 2 of those games. The Clippers need to upgrade at the point guard spot as soon as possible. The combo of Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverley has been an absolute travesty, simply not cutting it. The late game execution, an absolute disaster of a travesty. The Clippers couldn't run any good plays against the Bucks and Wizards. Both games they should have won. 8 of the 14 losses they lost by 5 or more points. Since the last 3 minutes they can't seem to run a good play. Leonard, a much improved playmaker, simply cannot be the best passer on the Clippers. Figuring out how to get a guy like Kyle Lowry will get them over the top. The more Reggie Jackson plays, the more good teams will take advantage abusing him. Number 7, Luka Doncic. Year 3, already named an all-star starter, the Slovenian prodigy making his case as a potential best player of the 2020s decade, had a slow start to the season, but absolutely turned it on, putting up 28.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 9 assists, 48% shooting, 32 games. Unreal how much he's accomplished so early in his career, because his team got off to a slow start, sitting at just 18 and 16 overall. As long as Luka Magic's healthy, Dallas should be in the playoffs. Still a chance he can become the youngest MVP all time if he somehow drags the Mavs to getting home court advantage in the first round. Dallas only 4 games behind the Clippers. Jalen Brunson's been the team's 2nd best player the last 10 games. Tim Hardaway Jr. is who he is. Josh Richardson and Kristaps Porzingis very disappointing. Porzingis injury prone and tends to wear down as the season progresses. Doncic dominating in today's spread offense, already having more career triple-doubles than Michael Jordan, and likely record the most all-time before turning 30 unless the game changes. For a team who started 9-14 to go 9-2 since, Doncic's MVP case will keep on building. His teammates Richardson and Porzingis must play better. Number 6, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sure we're all sick of hearing Giannis' name in the MVP discussions. Voter fatigue does appear to be a thing after all these years. Last time anybody won 3 straight MVP, Larry Bird from 84 to 86. Michael Jordan should have done it from 96 to 98. Steve Nash almost did it. This season, Milwaukee's not as dominant in the regular season, even had a 5-game losing streak, but Giannis' numbers continue to be stellar. 29, 12, and 6 on 56% shooting, still lacks a consistent jumper, flaws that will still be an issue against elite teams in the playoffs. The Bucks at 22 and 14 overall, despite their early struggles, only 2 games behind the Sixers for the top spot in the East. It's only been 36 games. The team's already lost 14 of them. It took Milwaukee a total of 68 games to lose 14 last season. Even if Giannis has similar numbers, he simply won't get as many MVP votes as last season, even if the Bucks finish with the number 1 seed. Chris Middleton's also been the closer for the Bucks in crunch time. The team also struggled, going 7-5 when Drew Holiday didn't play. Needs more chemistry with the team, even though he's a big upgrade compared to Eric, who fails to show up in the postseason. Bledsoe, Brook Lopez looking like he slowed down a bit. Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday simply will have to play their best basketball if the Bucks want to come out the East. If Milwaukee's a top 3 seed in the league, Giannis will get some first place votes. Unless the Bucks go 30-6 the rest of the way, I don't see the Greek Freak repeating. Number 5, Damian Lillard, one of the most loyal players in the league, very underappreciated and shows up to ball each and every year. A true professional, hasn't missed more than 9 games in any regular season thus far, putting up around 30 points, 4.5 rebounds, 8 assists. For a banged up Blazers team without second option CJ McCollum for an extended period, who was having the best season of his career, averaging almost 27 a game. Yusuf Nurkic out for a while. Of course, Zach Collins is always injured. The Portland Bigs curse continues after many decades, standing at 21 and 14. Gary Trent Jr., the second leading scorer after CJ went down, being just a game and a half behind the Clippers, 2 behind the Lakers. Dame Dollar sensational again. Many believe Portland was going to collapse with their injuries, but one of the most reliable superstars for years continues to show up to close out games, having 36-year-old Melo, who's on and off, and is Canner, the starting center since Nurk went down. Derrick Jones Jr. and Robert Covington on defense, both averaging only 8 points a game. Rodney Hood not helping, a show of himself after the injury. Lillard already has 4 40-plus point games this season. His team's 8-0 so far when Lillard scores 36 or more, but in reality, Portland needs to finish as a top 2 seed for Dame to get serious considerations for first place votes. Number 4, LeBron James, 18th season, absolute legend, always shows up. We have to appreciate his full body of work. Considered the top candidate a few weeks ago, the Lakers sit at 24 and 13 overall during the All-Star break, 3rd place in the West, with Davis still a week or 2 out after the All-Star break. AD out 14 games. The Lakers went 7 and 7 without him. James putting up his usual regular season numbers, still playing nearly 35 minutes, 26, 8 and 8, 51% shooting. He'll always impact the game and make his teammates better. LA will likely be up there with Utah if Davis didn't miss any games. The team also lost 4 straight with James while AD was out. The Lakers defense also averaged without Davis in the interior. Marc Gasol's been very inconsistent and old. While LeBron will continue to show up, I expect Frank Vogel to make a decision to tone down his minutes for the last 20 games of the regular season, not care too much about seeding, and have everybody healthy come playoff time. Number 3, James Harden. Many of you saying, wait a minute, he demanded out of Houston. Why is Harden top 3 on this list? He has KD and Kyrie. So what? James Harden has been playing sensational team basketball in Brooklyn, makes all his teammates better. Remember when everybody was killing Steve Nash for his coaching decisions? How did that die down? Because of the brilliant James Harden. The offense simply revolves around him. Houston, a 14-game losing streak without him, no identity. Harden way more valuable than John Wall and Vic Oladipo combined, averaging over 25 a game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, and efficient 40% from deep, over 48% from the floor. Makes guys like Jeff Green and Bruce Brown way better, always on point, leading the league in assists, can also put up 40 when needed, adapting to a role where he doesn't have to shoot 25 times a game. Plus, Durant's been out for a while. Brooklyn's 8-1 in that stretch, including road wins over the Lakers, Clippers, and Suns. Despite Brooklyn having the awful DeAndre Jordan at center, 6'4" Bruce Brown making more of an impact battling with the bigs, Harden will always find him for the easy points down low. The beard extremely durable. In 8 seasons with Houston, plays 613 of a possible 646 games, 95% availability time. Durant and Irving, because they often get hurt, can use all the time they want to recover because Harden can always pick up the slack. Brooklyn 14 and 10 when KD sat out February 6. Now the Nets have the 4th best record and a half game out of Philly for the number 1 spot. Although some are already not gonna vote for Harden because of how things ended with Houston, Brooklyn has been playing like the best team in the NBA the last 3 weeks, and Harden's been clearly the best player. Looking back at previous years, also finished top 3 in MVP voting each of the last 4 seasons, including 5 of the last 6 years. I'm going Charles Barkley style with this prediction right now. I guarantee James Harden will finish top 3 for MVP voting, finish either 1, 2, or 3. You can book that. Number 2, Nikola Jokic, putting up staggering jaw-dropping numbers from a center we haven't seen since Wilt Chamberlain. The 26-year-old leading his team in 4 of the 5 major statistical categories besides blocks, 27, 11, 8.5 assists, 57% shooting, 42 from 3, just absolutely filthy. The only thing holding him back, the Nuggets' just okay record of 21 and 15, winners of 4 straight. It appears the team have finally found their rhythm. The Serbian, the leading engine. The Nuggets lost backup center Mason Plumlee, no Jeremy Grant, team not as deep as last season. Joker was no joke, dominating the Bucks and blowing out Giannis. 37, 10, 11 for his 50th career triple-double. The only center with more Wilt. Jokic's overall numbers better than LeBron's. Jamal Murray also found his rhythm. Jokic already has a 50-point game this season. Dropped 47 on Gobert's Jazz. Always takes his time to dominate as long as his other teammates stay consistent like MPJ, Will Barton, Gary Harris, and Millsap. Denver will be a better team the second half of the season, being 2.5 games behind the Lakers, 2 behind the Clippers. Number 1, Joel Embiid, the best record in the East at the beginning stages of his prime, the process in full effect, putting up 30 points, nearly 12 boards. Doc Rivers has the Sixers playing fantastic basketball, a huge upgrade over Brett Brown. Joel constantly punishing guys down low, closing out the first half of the season with a statement victory. Embiid also absolutely destroyed, abused, annihilated, and humiliated heavy defensive player of the year candidate Rudy Gobert, made him look like a teddy bear. Giving him a 40-piece, 19 boards, made him look small. Combined with shooting over 40% from 3, if Embiid maintains that, he'll simply be unstoppable. Having Olajuwon type footwork with his 280 plus pound body frame, we've seen Joel beat guys in every way. A 50-point masterpiece against the Bulls a couple weeks ago. The Sixers wouldn't have this type of success without their franchise center, also one of the best interior defenders in the league, playing 30 of a possible 36 games thus far. As long as Embiid plays 61 of 72 games, maintaining his numbers, and Philly gets the number 1 seed in the East, Joel Embiid will most likely become the next center since Shaq in 2000 to win MVP. This season's MVP candidates, although not the strongest, I'm not saying the players are not as good as previous years. That's not what I mean. No teams has been head and shoulders better than everybody else. Like Giannis's Bucks last season and James Harden's Rockets in 2018, those guys were on top of the MVP ladder literally from start to finish, but still plenty of basketball left to be played. Embiid needs to stay healthy. Jokic's Nuggets might not finish a top 2 seed, which can hurt his case. Same with Portland's Dame Lillard. Harden's narrative of demanding out of Houston still rubs some the wrong way. LeBron will have a tough task without AD for some games. While Giannis voter fatigue, this 2021 MVP race should be more competitive than years past, but so far, Joel Embiid is number 1 on my list.
Who do you guys think will win the 2021 NBA MVP? Let me know in the comments below. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, current NBA history, and anything NBA related. If you're interested, just hit the subscribe button. Once again, thank you so much for your support. I love all of you. See you next time.